Hey, Brad,
Hey, Ian,
I've got questions.
let's talk about them.
All right. Well, week 4 is all about questions. So, welcome to week what the 4? G'day, Aussie Gridiron fans, and welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast, brought to you by the Aussie Gridiron Network. That's right, it is week 4 reaction show, and the theme for this week is questions. What the 4? Week 4 just brought up so many questions, ones that might have answers, ones that might not, but Brad is here with me today to chat about all of them. Hopefully, we might have some resolutions or some answers for those questions, Brad.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? And in the meantime, we'll give you the meaning of life. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. If you could give me the meaning of life, this week's lotto numbers, and I don't know, let's just start with those two things. I'll be a happy man.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You know, if the NFL was a buffet, we had everything on tap this week. So, I mean, it was crazy. You had upsets, you had ties, you had blowouts, you had, punt returns, the special teams again looking amazing and stuff. So, yeah, it was wild.
Blocked kicks, block field goals, block PATs, block punts.
Yeah.
You're right, Brad, smorgasbord, an absolute smorgasbord. This was a total buffet. You could pick whatever you wanted for any game, and it would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going back for onion rings 3-4 times. So, yeah. Sorry, that's my kryptonite.
Onion rings are most people's kryptonite, Brad. If you don't like onion rings, I'm not sure whether you've ever lived.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Someone joked with me today about winning the lotto, the usual Australian thing. They can't get hold of you. He goes, I thought you won the lotto. And I just said to him, no, if I won the lotto, I'd still answer the phone at work. I'd just be in a happier mood.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Oh, well, if I won the lotto, I'd be booking my tickets to every NFL game I could go. So, yeah, I get that.
I'd probably still have trouble. And again, as I've mentioned previously, I'm not going to the US while this administration is around either. So you might be able to get in and out, but the rest of us can't, Brad.
Fair point. Oh, no, you're a white middle-aged man. You should be able to get in and out.
No, I don't. Maybe you weren't on that show, but yeah,
No, I was. You talked about it, the things that you have posted. Yes,
there's way too much stuff that I've put on the internet. I'm a hell of a follow as a friend on Facebook because I will call out anybody who is an absolute tool in any group. And I am highly over-opinionated, it turns out. So
there is plenty to call out, let me tell you that.
I have a lot of fun with my local Facebook community groups. Just
good.
Just leave it there. So, these are country people that aren't well-educated and have some pretty dumb opinions. So.
Yeah. Well, that's not just country people, mate. That's
Oh, I know that. That's why I get on Americans, and that's why I know I'm not going to be allowed in the country while Trump's TSA is in full effect.
This guy, your picture is up on the wall. He's banned.
That's right. Week 4 questions, Brad. Huge week, as we mentioned. There's been so many points, so many good games. I like the caliber of games. Let's start with that. I really love the caliber of games that we're getting at the moment.
Yeah.
There's games that look like they should have been bad. Let's take Bills Saints, for instance. Everyone thought that was going to be an absolute blowout. Bills were 15.5-point favourites going into that game. We talked about that in our previews when we did some best bet stuff. And the Saints actually held the Bills to a reasonably respectable score going all the way into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I wasn't really going to talk about this, but obviously this is how good the games are. Like the Bills it was 21-19 before they ran away with a couple of late scores.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is what makes the NFL so awesome is parity. And just, even though the spread was, I think, 12 points, you couldn't count them out. And they showed a lot of grit and determination. So hats off to them.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely everything happened. Great set of games. Huge amount of stuff to talk about. There's so much we could talk about. I've tried to pick out a few of the glaring questions, and obviously there will be more out there. There's more questions all across the NFL. So I'll tell you what, if you think we missed something, hit us up on socials and give us your questions. There are some reactions stuff that Isaac has kindly put out there for us over the last few days. You can go to if you're an Australian and you're in the NFL Fans Down Under group, there's a post in there that Isaac put up asking for reactions for our show, or just seek out our socials, which you'll find at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network, all the links to all our socials there. And just hit us up with your questions, ones we might have missed, even some of the answers to some of the stuff Brad and I are about to talk about. We'd love to hear your questions. Make sure you do hit us up every week, actually, with any questions and reactions that come out, because we get to talk about them then, and you'll give us some content. So, no guest this week. Unfortunately, the guest I had lined up couldn't make it, but that's okay. Brad and I can hold down the fort.
More than capable of doing that. So, yeah, absolutely. So, bring it on.
Isaac's at work this week, so this is his week off the show anyway. But yeah, we're here and we're raring to go. We'll have that guest on next week, hopefully. But yeah, we'll just go from there. All right, let's get to some questions, Brad. Number one, could the Giants actually be fun to watch, even without Malik Neighbours? And can Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo save Brian Daboll's job? The Giants crashed home to their first win of the season, and their first with Jackson Dart, thanks to a stumbling Chargers team. Massive games from Amari and Hampton with 128 rushing yards and a TD, and Quentin Johnson with 98 receiving yards and a TD weren't enough to overcome the moment at MetLife Stadium, where the entirety of New York had seemingly come out to catch a glimpse of the future of the New York Giants.
It's. I don't know if you watched any of this game. I watched quite a bit of it actually.
I watched a lot of Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo highlights. I can tell you that right now. I think I have found another favorite player in the NFL, Brad. Give me Cam Scatterbo on a team with Baker Mayfield, and I will be a very happy boy.
Could you imagine? Well, Jackson Dart, I tell you what, man, he seems to have that same kind of moxie as Baker. So I loved it. Just that kind of attitude and the swagger that he had in that game. And the reality is, what I love is, that quarterback, his first touchdown, the quarterback design run. I don't know if that was an audible or if that was a called play or not, but it was awesome. I mean, you saw Scatterbo just go up the line and just stonewall the linebacker, and Dart just goes in there and scores, and just the energy, the vibe that they brought, and you saw people in New York just getting so excited. And how can you not get excited for those two? So yeah, absolutely. To your question, yes, they can be really exciting. Now, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but but I will. Can Dart sustain it? I don't know. Again, I'll go back to teams are going to get tape on him, force him to do some hard things. He didn't put up amazing numbers, but what he showed was his athleticism. And it was like Russ in his prime in terms of his athleticism. So if he can continue to do that and just get Giant fans excited, then awesome. But I mean, how many of us, and all swallow crow, were saying Daboll's an idiot for starting him because he's just going to get absolutely pumped by the Chargers. But on the Chargers side, man, they just laid a big old goose egg. They didn't look good. They did not look good. Of course, they lost their
Yeah.
other offensive tackle, so it's it's they came crashing back down to earth.
Yeah, the injury woes for the offensive line for the Chargers is really starting to mount. Now losing Joe Alt as well. It's it's a crazy amount of stuff that's happening to them. So we'll have to see if they do bounce back from this game where they did just stumble their way to 18 points and almost the win. They did pummel Dart in a way. They sacked him 5 times in the game as well. So, and they got Russell Wilson, who was out there for one. They sacked him on that drive as well. So there's 6 sacks in the game for the Chargers, which was huge. But I guess, can they be fun to watch? I think, I think that's all I really want now. We know what the Giants' season is going to look like because we've all talked about their schedule and the fact that their schedule is just insane this season. And here we are. Yes, I think the entirety of the NFL was asking that question beforehand, Brad, of why would you put him out against the Chargers? Why would you not be waiting until next week against the Saints? But now that he's got a win against the Chargers, they could get another win next week against the Saints, and look better. Does that mean that they're going to go further than that and look even better as they go through? I probably doubt it because, after that, you've got Philly and Denver and Philly again. So, is it gonna happen that way? Probably not. But if they're fun to watch, at least, then let's just keep bringing that energy to the NFL.
Well, and the intriguing thing I think also will be like Dayball. He got a name for himself when he was with Buffalo and Josh Allen, and I wouldn't surprise me if he tries to model Dart after kind of that whole evolution of, because when Josh Allen got in the league, he wasn't that amazing. He had a bad mechanics and all this and that, and yet Dable turned him into or helped turn him into the legitimate quarterback he is now. And I think that's what people will get behind. And what he did, it was so much creative stuff with motion and running the quarterback that if Dart can hold up, I think they could create some real momentum there. And it'll, at the very least, football will be exciting in New York.
Yeah, exactly. At the very least. And it certainly was exciting this week for the other New York team as well. So that's a good thing for New Yorkers this week. The fact that football might actually be exciting again. And, they might forget how bad MetLife Stadium is by watching something decent.
Did you see the highlight of Dexter, Sexy Dexy, batting the ball down for the Giants, catching it and then returning it all the way like down to the 1? That was, I just bring that up because who doesn't like to see fat men having fun? It was. It was awesome. I mean, just this guy just rumbling, bumbling. It was really, really cool. If people want to have a fun thing, go watch that clip of Dexty batting the ball, catching it, and then running down. And you just see his big old belly jiggling as he was running down. It's a thing of beauty, man.
Oh, man, Dexter Lawrence. What a dude. He's a big dude, too.
Yeah, he is. He is a beast.
And that, again, Cam Scatterbo is just going to be amazing. That guy seems like he is having fun no matter what he's doing. As long as it is completely violent on the field, he is having fun.
Yes. I just hope he can stay healthy. That's my biggest thing.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of jokes about he's on the quick path to CTE, like he's just trying to get there before everybody else. But he just the guy. He's having fun.
Yeah.
He's having fun, and I love it. Yep. Absolutely love it.
Yep.
All right, question 2. Are the Packers slowly losing their way? Why do Americans lose their minds over a tie? And is there a solution that would still make football interesting? I know that first question seems like a weird question for a team that just played in a 40-40 tie, Brad, and had 501 yards of offense. But the bipolar nature of this team is evident 4 weeks in when a previously strong defense who held the
Yes.
Lions to 13,
Yes.
the Commanders to 18, and the Browns to 10, gave
Mhm.
up 40 to the Cowboys and didn't look like that they were actually able to stop them from scoring at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And yes, the crazy thing is, like what you said, they looked so unbeatable those first 3 games,
Yep.
and yet they come out and this is a Cowboys team without CeeDee Lamb, so they're down to Pickens and Ferguson and a bag of chips. So I mean, I say that jokingly. Cavante Turpin looked really good, or they made him look good. But it was just, yeah, it was perplexing to me. So I think yes, the defensive meltdown was real. Are people getting overblown about it a little bit? I mean, you
Yep.
remember the Chargers. Everybody thought, oh my gosh, they're just everybody's darling, and then they laid a goose egg this week, and it's kind of the same with the Packers. So
I find that they were able to score really easily against the Lions, so their offense was
yeah,
humming.
yeah,
And then they have that game against the Browns where they couldn't score a thing.
yeah.
Like that was a 13-10 loss to the Browns.
Mm.
And then the same with the Commanders game. They're both sides of the ball were absolutely humming in that game.
Mm-hmm,
They were
mm-hmm.
up and down, but then they were down again. The defense was down this week, but obviously the offense was going amazing because they managed to get 501 yards of offense. 325 through the air alone, or 337 through the air alone.
Yeah.
So and that's what I mean by the bipolar nature of it is the offense is really good one week, but the defense is shit, and the next
Yep.
week they're up and down in opposite ways, and then the one week they're both down, and it's just are they losing their way here where they can't find a structure that works week to week?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're still finding their identity. I think they're still finding out how the best way to use Micah Parsons. It's so and again, this is kind of just the warp and woof and the evenness, the parity of the NFL. And also, I think you also have to take into account that Dak Prescott is playing MVP ball right now. I mean, he really is. So he is playing really well, and he just made some amazing throws in that game. Packers had a lot of pressure on him, but they were determined to not let Micah have a heyday, even though Micah got his 1 sack. They were determined. They were doing everything they could to keep him from just impacting that game. But they were getting a lot of pressure. But Dak just kept stepping up and just drilling guys, and the receivers were actually catching the balls. So I think it's natural to be a little overreaction because the Cowboys have just looked so bad. But the Cowboys look bad on defense. On offense, they I think are legit. So I wouldn't be pushing the panic button just quite yet with the Packers.
Pickens looked like a legit number 1 wide receiver today.
They did
8 receptions, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked every bit a number 1 wide receiver, which he needed to. We said he landed out. He needed to step up, and how good for the Cowboys now that they went out and made that pickup this season. And then you've got the other side of that where Pickens came from, where the Steelers, yes, they had some amazing stuff from DK Metcalf, but they could have absolutely used him with Aaron Rodgers this season with the way that's all going for him. So, what a sort of a trade there. That's just looking ridiculous these days. So I don't know. Green Bay have got the bye this week, next week, and then they go to the Bengals, who were hopeless today as well, and then they've got the Cardinals before they go to Pittsburgh. So hopefully they can get. I think the Packers can be really good this season. I think they can be really, really good. The stuff that they showed in those first couple of weeks shows that they can legit be a force now. They've just got to figure out how to get it to click on both sides of the ball at once and then keep that momentum week to week. Because if they do that, then they're going to destroy the league.
If they stay healthy, then it's looking like it's going to come down to them and the Rams. in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Righto. So the other questions I had there then, Brad, you got to tell me this. Why do Americans lose their minds over a tie? There have been since 1974, and I picked that date because that is the introduction of the 15-minute sudden death overtime rule. So that's
Okay,
when
yep.
that rule came into. Since
Mhm.
1974, there have only been 30 ties since
Really?
1974. 30.
Wow. That's wow. I didn't realize there was that few.
There was, and quite a lot of those in sort of around 74, 5, 6, quite a few in the 80s. But since sort of around 2014, we've had maybe one every couple of years. Yet, and it boils down to about 0.2% of all games ever played in the NFL
Mhm.
have resulted in ties since 1974. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So why do we absolutely lose our shit when a game goes through? And now we've got an overtime where it's both teams can
Yeah.
have to have a chance to possess the ball, and
Yep.
we still can't,
Yep.
beat a deadlock.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, has to go back to just culturally. Well, a couple things. Culturally, Americans love their winners and losers. Um, somebody's always got to win. Somebody's always got to lose. And also, I think soccer has just not been that prevalent. And soccer, it's common for a tie. That's way more common in soccer. And so I think people get used to that in their sports. Whereas in America, there's really, outside of soccer, there's no other games that end in ties. I mean, baseball will play 18, 21 innings if they had to.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
come back on consecutive days and keep playing, won't they?
Oh well, there's been cases where they've played until like 2 in the morning and stuff like that. So from a 7 o'clock game. So it's yeah, you're right. Americans hate ties. They will do anything they can to avoid them. And it's funny because there was even, or not funny, there was even rumblings about that they need to change the rules now so that they're not going to have a tie. And then the NFL has said, no, we're not changing the rules right now in the middle of a season. So
You can't change it in the middle of the season,
no,
no. But
this is stupid.
is it?
This
Is there a?
stupid.
Do you think I've got an idea? But do you think there is a solution for what you could do that would still be entertaining? That would mean that you will have a winner and a loser from a game, so you can avoid a tie. Let's
Yep.
let's say we've gone through our whole 60 minutes of game time. We've gone through our 15 minutes full overtime period.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we're still deadlocked like we were in this game at 40-40. What is there a solution after that that would be interesting and entertaining enough? Because and I'll admit I come from a soccer background,
Yep.
and when you go to free kicks, that is one of the worst ways to win or lose a game. It is the most boring shit ever in soccer, where it is just a person kicking a ball against a goalkeeper into a
Mm.
massive goal, a
Mm.
massive wide open goal. It doesn't. There's not a lot of skill in it, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. So my first solution would be adopt the college method. So the Kansas what they call
Don't they still have? They've got more overtimes, don't they?
college does, yeah. In fact, I just saw my Ducks win it in double overtime this last Sunday against Penn State, which was an amazing game. But basically, it's like you start from the 10, and then each team gets a turn, and then in the second overtime, you have to go for two. You can't do an extra point, and I think that's just the way it goes. And sooner or later, somebody's gonna win with that. The other one that would be crazy, and I don't think they'd ever do it, but it would create a lot of drama, is just do like alternating kicks and keep moving it back 5
Well,
yards.
that was my suggestion now,
Was
Brad.
that going to be yours?
Yes, absolutely. Golden
No
kick
way.
or golden boot. Especially with the prevalence now of like kickers are becoming a legit part of the offense again.
Yes.
Because dudes can bomb it from 60 plus yards now. It's just like a 40 or a 45 or a 50 is just easy fodder now for a kicker.
Yes.
So, but also, if you look at what happened this week, where we had so many blocked kicks, the defensive side is starting to really like ramp up how they can do that.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Let's talk about you get that defensive side, you get the offensive line, the snap, the holder, the kicker, that pressure, and let's start them. Let's start them at a 45. You know?
Yeah.
And if both kickers, and you've got dudes rushing off the edge trying to dive in to stop it, like all the same rules apply to a kick that would normally apply on a field goal or a PAT. If both kickers get it at 45, we move back another 5, and we go to 50, then we go to 55, then we go to 60. And can you imagine the first kicker missing a 60-yard field goal? Sorry, let's say the first kicker kicks a 60-yard field goal, and then the second kicker, the opposition team comes out, and then we get a blocked kick. That stadium would erupt.
Oh,
absolutely erupt.
Yeah, it would go. It would go. It's so funny that we thought of that. Or you together.
I just think golden boot makes sense. It still comes like that same sort of soccer idea where it is you've got a free kick, right? But we're also involving two lines of players, offensive and defense. You're involving the snapper, you're involving a holder, you're involving a kicker. So there's so many more moving parts that can go wrong to hit between two sticks that are in the air 45, 50 yards from you. You have to hit the ball right. It has to travel through the air right. It has to get between the two uprights. Like, it's just so many more things that need to go right other than one guy standing in front of an 18-foot wide goal while another guy kicks a ball at him. So, yeah.
I love it. And also because the biggest complaint about, why don't they just about go to the Kansas plan or extend the time, the overtime, and keep going again. The biggest complaint that people have is the risk of injury because it's some of it deservedly so. The guys are tired and all that. But I love that idea of the kick because generally speaking, that's special teams and that's a different set of guys. Yeah. So you're not dealing with the same type of injury concern. And yet the drama that would create would be next level. It would just be so good.
Exactly. Because these guys kickers are becoming legit parts of the game again because of the rule changes that have made it that way. Look at the way kick returns. People shit-canned it last year, but kick returns are working here.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, there's a real strategy to it. And if you watch that Cowboys game, it was a big factor. The fact that the Cowboys kicker was able to place it right near the goal line. And a lot of times it landed in the landing zone, but they downed it in the end zone. And that brought it out to the 20 versus the 40. That 20 yards difference in an NFL field, that's huge. So you're exactly right. The kicking game is having a massive effect.
I'm just trying to think who it was. Oh, the Patriots Panthers game. There was 3 punt returns by Marcus Jones.
Yes.
Back to back. He did a punt return, scored a touchdown, did a massive punt return on the next drive.
Right.
The very
That's
right. Section of play where they received a punt, did a punt return again. He had an 87-yard long punt return. And that stuff's becoming commonplace because of these rules, the rule changes. And that comes about because of the kickoff return rule, because you look for legit guys who can return it properly. So then they become your punt returners and as well, and you just get that. It just flows on from that point. So anyway, that's what I think. I think golden kick, golden boot, I think it would be the most entertaining way because it's got to be an entertaining way. People aren't going to get around it if it's not entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
But this is you're only talking about you played 75 minutes of game time and you're still deadlocked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I think it's a great idea.
Imagine having that to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, People would love and hate that. They would, because there's the purists that kind of like look down on kickers, and it's like, well, I shouldn't.
But
come
if you
down.
go out past 60 yards to win a Super Bowl,
Absolutely
60-yard kicks to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, and the pressure.
Yeah, because once you've hit 45, 50, 55, even
Yeah.
40, 45, 50, 55, you know what I mean? You go to 40 because it's your automatic.
I've always said, like if I was a coach at that level, I would look into the rules. Could I put my kicker in like just some hyperbaric chamber, some dark room on the sideline there, just some pod to completely isolate him so he has no idea of even the context of the game, and you just bring him out there to kick a ball so that there's no, you just say, okay, you got to kick a 45-yarder. Don't tell him about anything. And I just thought, but the drama.
The dark room on the side.
Yeah, exactly. There's this guy with an eye mask, he's sitting in a dark room, got his headphones on.
Picks up the phone. We need you.
That's right. Yeah. You just trot him out there. You just kick your field goal. It would take the pressure off of him.
Maybe not. I don't think it would.
Aussie.
It might be pretty obvious, but I am not Matty C.
NFL.
Absolutely stoked to have it on the podcast, mate. Welcome.
Fantasy.
Tay, I think it's time you just abused your mate here.
Would you rather be fighting zombies or aliens?
Find hidden gems.
And with that, we're into some breakouts.
I'm glad you're stalling because my results last week were a hot piece of ass.
We all had our struggles, mate.
We've unzipped the pennies and it's time to put the pennies in the pit. Let's do it.
I'm taking Trey McBride,
I'm just leaning on the old tuck graft.
and all of a sudden he's just lighting them up.
Catch starts of the week.
I'm just going to go ahead and take Goff at Chicago.
So I'm going to go running back. I'm going to take Travis Etienne.
I'm going to go ahead and take your boy Ty Tracy.
I'm going to take Adam Thielen.
So I'm going to go and take Richo against Tennessee.
I'll take Matt Stafford.
Just a little float out the Dalton Kincaid.
I'm actually going to take Caleb against the Lions.
Friday and Sunday all season long. The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
Thanks to the Aussie Gridiron Network.
Good to give me the dance floor. I'll probably fucking snap the floorboards.
The Falcons might have beaten the Commanders, but it was the Mariota Commanders. In a world where a beating by the Panthers still exists for the Falcons, should we believe in them?
Yeah, that's a great question. They get shut out last week. They come back with a vengeance this week. You saw Bijan just lighten it up. Kyle Pitts actually looked like he deserved to be out on the field. So, and Penix looked good. Drake London looked
20
good.
of 26, 313 yards. That's his first 300-plus yard game. 2 touchdowns.
The exact opposite of how he looked when he got benched the week before. So, I think that's just a part of their maturity and they've got a young quarterback and that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't be putting too much stock in them, but it's overreactions. So I get why people are excited. I love their offense. I love watching, and they've actually got a decent defense. This season.
I just don't know what to make of them now, Brad.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
They played such a great game against the Bucs, and it was so hard fought in week 1. Then they go out and demolish the Vikings 22-6 in Minnesota, which is hard to do. Let's be honest. And then they lose in Carolina to the Panthers without scoring anything, 30-0. And now we've got 34-27 win over the Commanders. And again, yes, I know it's the Mariota-led Commanders. I think if you put, if it's not them and you put like the actual offense of the Commanders out there, then I think that's a very different tape. Jaden Daniels wouldn't have sort of put up with that. I think he could have got him to a win just by himself. But that's not saying that Mariota's not good, but I just don't understand. And now I just don't know what to think of the Falcons, considering I'm just having a look. It's Bills, 49ers, then Dolphins, Patriots, in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah,
I just don't know what to make of them.
I think you're exactly right because they go from not scoring at all last week to getting 435 yards this week. I think after these next 2 weeks, with the Bills, then we'll have a really good idea of who they are and hopefully, realistically, like I mean, best case scenario is they probably split those next 2 matches.
Yep.
So if they can come out of there with 1 win, then they'll be considered in my a real playoff team.
So you're talking 3-3 after 6 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we might actually get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, well, I'll say all they have to do is win their division, but you with Tampa Bay, you just don't know.
No, you don't know. You don't know at all.
How good is that game? That next game, if the Falcons can turn it up a little bit, that next Falcons Tampa Bay game, I don't know when that is, but that's going to be really good.
That will be just going back to the schedule, week 15 in Tampa.
Okay. That could be an awesome
Thursday
game.
night football.
Baker's going to just be salivating at that.
Thursday night Baker. That's what that is.
Absolutely. Oh, yes.
Righto. Coaches, Brad. Dave Canales, Brian Callahan, John Harbaugh. 3 coaches, 3 big questions. Now, obviously the questions are different for each one, but there's 3 big questions that are basically just those coaches. Let's start with Dave Canales, Carolina Panthers. The Panthers, after a 30-0 slapping of the Falcons that we just talked about, they go down to the Patriots 42-13, basically scoring in garbage time to make it 13. Otherwise, it would have been 6. They scored the first score of the game, missed the PAT, so they got 6 points on the board. And then the Patriots put on 42 unanswered points from that point onwards before the Panthers got some garbage time to make it look a tiny bit better.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Average margin of defeat for Carolina Panthers head coaches, Brad, since the beginning. Dom Capers, 10.9. I'm going from least to most.
Okay.
George Seifert. Oh, no. No, it won't be least to most. I'm going in order. Dom Capers, 10.9. George Seifert, 10.9. John Fox, 12.6. Ron Riviera, 11.1. Matt Rule, 11.4. Frank Reich, 12.1. Dave Canales is at his average margin of defeat is 18.2. Dom Capers took over an expansion team, and they were putting up a better fight each week. They are right now.
They made it to the NFC Championship game in year 2, I think. So they were legit. They came out just firing. The Panthers in Jacksonville are most of our listeners are probably too young to remember, but the Panthers came out and said, we're going to be a team right away. Jacksonville said, we're going to build it. 2 different approaches, build it over time. Have either one of them found any success? Well, at least the Panthers made it to a Super Bowl. But that's bad, dude. That is really, really, really bad. But I think what let the Panthers down so much this game was the special teams. They miss a field goal. They give up 2 punts, punt returns, of over 60 yards. So and Bryce Young looked like he didn't want to play. So it was inexcusable. And you got to think, is Canales going to make it through the season?
Yeah. Well, just going further on Canales, his record now as a head coach of the Panthers is 6-15.
Oh, man.
So that 18.2 average margin is 15 losses.
Yeah.
So only 15 games. And this was some info that I found from on X. The guy that posted this said, looking back at those losses, I'd say that 9 of them were non-competitive, which I would totally believe.
Yeah.
There's been a period of time there where the Panthers have just not been competitive in games.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just looking more and more like Dave Canales. He either doesn't know, he's just not capable of filling the shoes for the job, or is it that he doesn't trust Bryce? Because it seems like he doesn't trust Bryce. I just, it's an odd world.
Or and it could be a little bit of both. The Canales, again, he got his reputation when he was with Seattle and Russ, and I love him. But sometimes guys are just better as coordinators. That's the reality.
Oh, we see that all around the league, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no shame in that. I'm not saying he can't be a head coach or anything, but because I think we don't know with Canales simply because he was not given a complete team. And I think you got to be asking the question, is Bryce Young a bust? Yes, he's had a couple good games here and there. But he has not been consistent with his good games at all. So it really concerns me in that regard. Right now, if I would say Bryce is a failure, and there's no getting around it.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way.
Hmm.
The next question is Brian Callahan, the Tennessee Titans head coach. I don't know how he survives this week, to be honest. The amount of decisions, dumb decisions that have been happening out of the Titans this season alone are just outstanding. They lost 26-0 to the Texans this week. Now, I do have to preface the fact that the majority of that game, it was 6-0 against the Texans. The Texans are not a good team either.
Their offense is poo.
They scored 20 points in the fourth quarter to put this at 26-0.
Yeah.
The Texans are not a good team.
Yeah.
And the Titans and Cam Ward looked pedestrian.
Well, what did he say? He said something in his we ass or something.
We ass, yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, what? But yeah,
it was a very. I loved. It was such a frank press conference and from Cam Ward, and obviously he says we ass.
Yeah.
Very kid stuff, but he openly admits that they're not helping the defense out. He points out the fact that they've lost a quarter of their games and they can't figure out how to get it together on both sides of the ball. They're not going to go anywhere. And he even says in that, and it's just sort of in passing in there going, I want to win. I just want to win games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I saw the interesting stats. First time for him ever since high school or college, he's never been shut out. So that's got to be pretty demoralizing for him. Hopefully it just doesn't ruin him. That's the thing. He seems like he's got the right attitude, the right mentality, that it's not going to. But I don't see how he lasts the coach.
Brian Callahan is 3-18 as a Titans head coach. And you've got the number 1 overall pick. You've got a defense that should be humming, and you're still like losing to the Texans, whose offense we all know to be terrible. And it doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense that he's still there. I really thought he'd be gone by the time we were recording this podcast, to be honest. But he's still there as of now.
Yeah. Who do they have next?
Who do the Titans have next?
Yeah.
Just have a quick look.
The thing that concerns me is, like, if he gets fired, then they're going to lose his dad, who's the offensive line coach, who's arguably the best offensive line coach.
That is one of the large problems that they've got, is who takes over the team.
Yeah.
They've got Arizona next, then the Raiders, then Patriots, Colts, Chargers before they have a bye week in week 10.
So you're basically saying, can they be competitive? You're not even saying can they win. You're saying can they be competitive? And if they just go out and lay an absolute another goose egg like they have been doing, then I think you're going to see some changes because and rightfully so, something has to be done. But if they can kind of bounce back and be competitive, because they're professionals, they're playing for a paycheck.
Yep.
They're paying for playing for, if not this team, then their next contract and that type of thing. So, yeah, that is bad. It's bad.
It is bad. John Harbaugh, Brad.
Okay.
We got to start asking questions about the Ravens. That game was great, but it wasn't at the same time. It felt like they were achieving in spite of what was happening in the coaching ranks, and that was Lamar. And it went south from that point. He's got a postseason record of 13-11, 173 and 107 for an NFL record all up. And it basically is the head coach of the Ravens. I know he's been to the Super Bowl and he's won a Super Bowl. I get that part. But at what point do the Ravens need to make a change to try something different?
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's the old adage of what's the definition of insanity or what's the definition of stupid is when you just keep doing the same thing and over again, expecting different results. Yeah. And it seems like that's what's happening with the Ravens right now this season, is that we're doing the same things again, expecting there to be a different result.
Yeah. The question has to be asked. So I'm glad you brought it up, and I think most people probably just give them an automatic pass because of the Super Bowl. Yeah. But what blew me away, and I think I was probably just a little bit more in tune to it because I have them in a couple of my fantasy leagues, was it was 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and Derrick Henry wasn't even in the game.
No, he was off the field. Three times that happened, Brad. 3 times that happened. It was 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. What are you doing as an offensive coach if you're, and I said this in the group chat this week too, is we obviously need to ask the question of Todd Monken as well, as the offensive coordinator, is when you have Derrick Henry and he's not on the field for a 3rd or a 4th and 1 situation, what are we doing? Because that guy could, you don't even have to give Lamar the ball from the snap. Just let Derrick Henry take the snap and reach that 18-foot wingspan over the top of everybody with the ball. It's just, I don't understand it.
Yeah. No, I agree. The decisions seemed really perplexing, and that defense, you're going up against a very what people thought was a pedestrian Kansas City offense, and they made him look like the Kansas City of old. They were about playing as well as the Cowboys secondary, so it was bad. Yeah, the temperature is going to get a lot hotter in Baltimore if they don't make some changes. I'm not necessarily saying they got to make a coaching change, but they got to make smarter choices, smarter coaching choices, and we'll see if that happens because it's not looking good.
Yeah, and now Lamar Jackson's got a hamstring injury, which they still don't know the severity of. So that's looming over the whole thing as well now, over the whole season, because if you've got to go into next week's game with Cooper Rush, forget about it.
Oh, good Lord. No.
Because Cooper Rush is not your option, even against, I know it's the Texans next week, but he's still just not your option, the best case scenario to lead that team, because then you've also got the Rams after that and the Bears, who are looking pretty plucky right now. So that's the next 3.
Yep.
So that's all that. And look, let's just talk a little bit about the Chiefs, because there is a little bit about the Chiefs in that game as well. You're right. Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes are old in this game. He was absolutely balling. This is Patrick Mahomes from 5 years ago. And funnily enough, it's the first time, this is such a weird stat, it's the first time he's thrown for 3 or more touchdowns since 2023, October 2023. 2 years nearly, Brad. Since he's thrown 3 or more touchdowns in a game.
But and I don't know if you watched any of this game, but you know what I loved is that they actually went under center a lot in this game, and They brought in 6 offensive linemen, quite a bit. So I love the fact that they were changing things up. And this is to me, okay, Andy Reid. It's not working. We got to do something different. Let's go under center. Let's bring in extra linemen.
Yeah.
Then they were actually able to run the ball. Then they were actually able to do play action. So whereas my concern, because I like Harbaugh, is he's just going to say, well, let's just keep doing the same stuff. And, Andy Reid, as old as he is, he's making the adjustments and the changes. You got to do the same thing, Harbaugh.
Yeah, exactly. Who the hell are the Browns? Flacco isn't the answer for the season, so at some point you have to start the rookies. But when? And who? And with a murderer's row of a schedule, should you? But then, who the hell are the Browns?
Exactly. Who are the Browns? Well, the Browns are a pathetic organization. We know that.
You get no disagreement from me there, Brad.
Yeah. And it's so I feel so bad because that defense is a legitimate playoff caliber defense. They're a top 5 defense, I would argue, and they're playing well enough to win. But Joe Flacco, come on, man! You telling me Kirk Cousins wouldn't be better with them? And I don't want Kirk Cousins to waste his final years at the Browns, but it's embarrassing. So yeah, do you go to the rookie and just accept the fact? I think that he's going to get pounded. You got to do something though. You can't. It goes back to what you were just saying earlier. It's insanity to all of a sudden expect Joe Flacco to be able to just turn it around, and he's not going to throw interceptions or fumble the ball and have 3 turnovers turn into 17 points. You're not going to win in the NFL. You do.
I
that.
truly believe that the plan was at some point with that they were going to have Joe Flacco, and then at some point during a season they were going to move to a rookie. That's why you drafted a rookie. But then, of course, they drafted 2 rookies. Yeah. And as I've said all along, I think they drafted Dylan Gabriel to be a backup. I think that they did that to future-proof things because they're thinking of next season.
Yeah.
Like they go out and get an actual starter next season.
Yeah.
But were you expecting Joe Flacco? You can't have been expecting Joe Flacco to lead you the entire year.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sanders sitting back there, but you haven't really played either Gabriel or Sanders in any that much in terms of snaps or games this year. Like Gabriel's been the backup. So what are you doing? And it's when. And like I said, with the games coming up for them, I don't know when, because you've got the Vikings next week. I better just look at the schedule as a whole because it'll show me the bye. But they've got the Vikings next week or this week in London. Then they go to Pittsburgh straight away. Then they go to Miami. Now, of course, the Dolphins are on back-to-back wins now, so they're actually starting. They look like they might be putting something different together because they're trying to achieve something. And then you got the Patriots, who are looking pretty good. Before you've got a bye in week 9. Now, if you lose the next 4, I question things, Brad, because if you lose the next 4, you're going to be at 1-7. Like, why would you? I just don't understand after that why you would bring a rookie in, because then you've got Jets, Ravens, Raiders, 49ers. Like, it's just What's the plan? And so, who are you?
And that's the thing. A team without an identity is just they're useless. So you have to figure out your identity, and I would roll with the rookies. I'd give Shadur a couple tries, and I would give Gabriel a couple tries, and see how you go. What do you got to lose?
I don't know. They managed to talk Myles Garrett into something, and I can't believe that they talked him into this.
Yeah. No. Well, I think it's money.
Well, they talked him into money, but he kept saying it wasn't about the money he could win, and it probably wasn't about the money because other teams would have given him the same money. But you found Quinshon Judkins, who looks amazing as a running back. How about rookie running backs this season? And then you've got Isaiah Bond and Jerry Judy's still sort of balling out here and there. But again, you've got this team that can go somewhere, but where are you going to do? And all you've got is a defense. You can't rely on that anyway.
Yeah.
Who the hell are the Browns? All right. This question came from our good mate Matty C. Jaguars faithful. Jacksonville legit Jaguars. The defense appears to be adept at creating extra possessions for the offense, but do we trust the offense? Such a hard question this week. Of course, they won 26-21 over the 49ers. The 49ers had a lot of problems, Brad, where injury-wise, they have just been getting absolutely obliterated, and it kept happening in this game. And at one point, Ricky Pearsall went off. He's been playing so well. He went off the field and never returned. I think he was off for more than a quarter. So he just didn't return to the game after getting 4 receptions for 46 yards. So they lost him. But yeah, I guess it's a great question from Matty. If the defense is creating those extra possessions, do we trust the offense to actually do something with those extra possessions?
They're doing enough to not implode. So from that standpoint, they're doing well. And shoot, ETN is looking like a world beater. It's amazing how good he is looking in that Liam Cohen offense. So they're relying on their defense and their special teams. The 4 turnovers they got give them 17 points. It was the win. It was the game. And they've forced now 12 turnovers on the season. They lead the NFL. Can you keep that up? No. But you don't need to keep that pace up, I don't think. I think their offense is good enough. I'm a huge proponent for Trevor. I thought people just kind of piled on him because his expectations were so high. I don't think he's going to ever meet those expectations, but I think he's going to be a decent quarterback. And if not Trevor, who are you going to go to? So it's kind of like the whole thing with Dak when they signed Dak to that big contract. I wasn't a huge Dak fan, but it's like, who else are you going to get? So they've got the tools and they're getting it done. It's if they're willing, I think, to put it on the ground and run the ball and rely on that and not put so much pressure on Trevor to go out and win games and be perfect, because that's what it takes for him, is he's got to almost play perfect. Then I think they can do it. So yeah,
they got Kansas City coming to Jacksonville for this week for Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Then they've got Seattle. There's 3 home games in a row actually. Then they got Seattle and the Rams.
So Kansas City, Seattle, and then the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams one I believe is played overseas though. But yeah, they've got those 3 coming up before the bye week. So Kansas City, Seattle, Rams.
Okay.
Can they sort of continue that run? They're at 3-1 now. I would hope you would come. I think if you really want to be legit and you want to seem to be taking advantage of the opportunities that are being presented to you, that you really want to come out of that next 3 sitting probably, I think you want 2 wins. So I think you really want to be 5-2.
Yeah, if they can get 2 wins, that I think they'd be ecstatic.
I think if you go into your bye week at 5-2, you'd be really happy with the season.
Yeah, I think more likely it's going to be 4-3. Just because I don't know if they're at that level as those teams. But this is the gauntlet. This is the test. Is how are they going to respond in this over these next 3 games? I know they say there's no moral victories, but if they can stay competitive, if they can be close and in those games, that counts. And especially you get into they make it to the playoffs, they can, say, hey, we were in the game in all of our games, and we only lost by a little bit. So being competitive counts. Yeah, it's. I think they are legit, but it's still a little bit too early to tell. We'll know for sure after these next 3 games.
Yeah, because I think that the games after the bye week are a little bit easier to handle, given the caliber.
They couldn't be any rougher.
No, this next 3 weeks is 3 very rough weeks. One of those, actually, I just looked. It is the London game against the Rams.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Which actually that'd probably work out in their favor. But anyway.
One more thing we should probably talk about. We talked a little bit about the 49ers already. We should probably just touch on, because this week is obviously 49ers Rams.
Yeah.
We're not going to really do a preview for 49ers Rams, but let's touch on the Colts Rams game that happened this week, Brad. The Rams won this affair 27-20. Matthew Stafford looked like an absolute beast once again, throwing 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. Puka Nacua looks like one of the most amazing receivers in the entirety of the NFL right now. 13 receptions, 170 yards, 1 touchdown in amongst all that. 15 targets he got, so 13 of 15. Unstoppable Puka Nacua was this week. And the Rams also had some bit parts in there from when you call 88 yards a bit part, but Tutu Atwell, Devontae Adams got off the scoreboard quite well as well. Kyron Williams was 77 yards on the ground. But I truly believe that the Colts really threw that game away. They were going to win that game for sure. And if it wasn't for 2 bonehead mistakes from Adonai Mitchell, then I really think that the Colts win that game, and we could have been looking at a Puka Nacua 170-yard game that was a loss.
Yeah. It's not very often that, I'm an empathetic guy, but when it comes to sports and football, I don't have a ton of empathy, but I felt bad for Adonai Mitchell. I really did, just in the sense of, you cost that team the game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no other way you can spin it. He cost them the game. Just 2 completely idiotic plays. So, yeah, it's I love what the Rams are doing, man. But they're passing the ball to set up the run, and it goes back to I think coaching, and the Rams, McVay, when everybody zigs, he zags. You're seeing the rest of the NFL go back to kind of more the old school, lots of bigger linemen, run it down your throat. That's why you're seeing a resurgence of running backs. Where he's kind of going in the opposite direction. He's leaning more into the passing game in Matthew Stafford. So, and what the stuff that he's doing is just unreal. And you could make an argument, I think, a very legit argument that Puka is MVP of the league. Like, if I had to vote right now, I would vote for Puka as MVP over anybody else. Do I think that he can keep that up over the whole season? I doubt it. I think we've seen him break down with injuries, but he is by far, I think, the most impactful player in the league right now. And I think, coming up to this game on Thursday, unfortunately, I don't think it's a fair fight, just because, the 49ers are just decimated. They still have a line to get in their blue tent to get seen, I think.
Yeah.
Just
very true, Brad.
Yeah. I don't really feel bad for anything that happens to the 49ers, but you want to beat teams at their best, not because half their team has been depleted. So, definitely, personally, I would take the Rams and the spread on this game. Can you believe the spread opened at 3 for this game? That game this week.
I know.
It's already up to like 5.5, but I'll take the Rams even at 5.5.
Oh yeah, so it was ridiculous. I think we did take that. Nick might have got on that at 3.
Oh my god!
Yes, he did. He got. I was
Did
just
he
checking him
really?
through. for other things, namely how bad I am at betting, apparently.
No, you may get a couple bets bad, but you hit it big when you hit it. So
Well, sometimes, Brad, sometimes. This week's multi wasn't so great.
no, this week's multi was we won't talk about that.
Well, I went 1 of 8, Brad. I'm just going to throw it out there. I went 1 of 8, so it all didn't come off at all. I still would have lost because quite a lot of them, we're a long way out, but
it was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, so we did get on that, actually. Yes, I'm with you, though. I think the Rams, it is going to be very one-sided, and that is largely because the 49ers are so injured. I just don't, I don't know. You've got one of the greatest running backs in the league, or greatest offensive threats in the league in Christian McCaffrey, and you still can't manage to keep an O-line together to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
You still can't manage to keep other players on the field to help keep it going. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a strange world. The 49ers are constantly there or thereabouts, and they just keep getting snake bit.
Yeah, it's something. Something's going wrong there for them to get injured, like so many of them for these last couple of years. They got to. I'm sure they are looking at everything, but that's not normal.
There seems to be a secondary theme this week too, Brad. Is that you need to try something different to have a different outcome.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Why are some of these teams? Because the NFL is so generally, I would say it's become much more progressive than what it used to be. It's not nearly as old school as what it used to be. But some of the behavior is very old school. The reluctance to change. They need to do some different things.
Change your path to change your fate, Brad.
Yep. Yeah. I like that.
That's all you need to do. All right, that's week 4, and what the 4? And so many questions. As I said earlier, if you've got other questions you thought we should have brought up, hit us up on the socials, linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. We'll be back on the weekend with week 5 previews. We've got Monday Night Football, which is, what did I say that was? It was Kansas City and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Did I say that? Yeah.
I think so.
Yep. So Kansas City, Jacksonville, Monday Night Football. We'll have 4 other games that the 4 of us want to watch and what we believe you should watch out of the rest of the slate for the week. So stick around and catch up with us on the weekend. And, of course, the boys in Aussie NFL Fantasy. Check all that stuff out. And Taylor and his NFL Super Coach Harfer as well. It's all on the network, and you'll find it all at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. Thanks very much for joining us. And we'll see you later on.